What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Sully Squad. We got a lot to get into. We got of course, really happy that NFL football is back. I mean, I know, first preseason game, there were no starters on offense. You saw some starters on defense. So we'll get into some Eagles preseason, plus some NFL preseason. And then also we're going to get into, unfortunately, a really struggling baseball team. I mean, basically, and start trying to get everybody's level of concern about this Phillies team. So we're going to get into some of that. I got my man Sean as usual with me. What's up, Sean? How you doing?
What's up, guys? Same old, man.
Yeah, and then I also got special guest Eric Moratelli. Eric, how you doing, man? Thanks for hopping on with us.
Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to it. I would say I'd be a little bit better if our baseball team wasn't in the place that it's in right now. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so that's actually I guess we'll start off with the bad first. Phillies. I mean, you look at last week. Last week we did this show and we were coming off. Phillies were coming off a nice win in Seattle. They salvaged the game 3. Wheeler had a big game. Then they went to LA and things started to look like they were looking up. I mean, they took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. They won the first game in Arizona, and then boom, everything just went to absolute shit. I mean, Friday was Friday. You lose a walk-off game, and hey, that can happen. But Saturday and Sunday, like, not even competitive. Eric, I'll start with you, man. I mean, like, I know teams go through lulls in baseball. But, this team's what, like 5 or 6 games under 500 in kind of a big stretch. I mean, since the London trip, they're actually what, like 24 and 29 or something like that. I mean, what's your level of concern here?
So for a while, it wasn't really that high. Like, I guess up until, the series in Arizona, like you said, every team's going to go through these ups and downs. Every team's going to have their lulls. And I was actually at the point where I'm like, you know what, maybe it's good. Get it out of the way now. I always feel that the hottest team is always the team that does the best in the postseason. You see it with other teams, right? Like the 08 Phillies, were they the best team that year? I don't know if it's arguable they weren't. Look at their pitching staff, but they were hot when they came in, so that they went the whole way. But after seeing you kind of got our hopes up with the 2 wins against the Dodgers and that win in the first game against the Diamondbacks. It's like, all right, maybe they're coming back, right? Things started clicking. They were getting situational hits. The starters were pitching well. The relievers were keeping them in games. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, what happened to that team? And I don't know if it's like that for some reason they can't play in Arizona. We'll see what happens when they come back home. But it's starting to become a little bit more alarming. Just because it's like, okay, when are some of these guys going to get out of this funk? Like Stott really hasn't been around all season.
Yeah.
Marsh has been abysmal. So there's definitely some, I think, a little bit more concern now today than there was, say, this time last week.
Yeah. I mean, and then the other thing is too, you look at the NL East standings, and by the grace of God, the Braves and the Mets both are not playing that great. So they still have a 7.5 game lead, but let's keep it real. You want to be a top 2 seed. I mean, right now the Phillies are what, a game and a half up on Milwaukee, something like that. I know Phillies are 69 and 49. Well, Milwaukee's 67 and 50, and then you got the Dodgers 69 and 49 right there. So, and then you got teams like Arizona and the Padres only like 3.5 back of you. So, like, the bottom line is they're in real danger. They keep this up. Yeah, they may win the East, but then you're a 3 seed. And I'll tell you what, I want no parts of a best of 3 series against either a team like San Diego or Arizona here. I want no parts of that.
No, you don't, because they play great small ball. Look at what they did with us in the playoffs. But man, how about Nola just serving up meatballs like we were talking Sunday or Saturday night? I mean, it's ridiculous. Jake McCarthy just basically got him to sit down on the bench with those 2 jacks of the homers, But yeah,
McCarthy really tortured the Phillies pitching staff this that whole series. Really, it was it wasn't great to see because he's kind of the guy you're looking for as a stopper there. Sanchez struggled, who has had a really good season. So you're kind of like, all right, we're really relying on some guys who you didn't even really plan on having, in the major league rotation at any point this year.
True.
Now, hopefully, Rangers should be coming back somewhat soon. Taijuan Walker, whether people think that's a good thing or not, is coming back for tomorrow night's start. I mean, if he's healthy, he's going to eat innings. We'll see how effective he is, but hopefully, he's able to find that splitter again because, quite frankly, that they need him. And if you told me on August 12th that I was saying that Taijuan Walker's return would be a key part to the rotation, I would say we're not in a great spot right now. So we'll see. But yeah, they the Diamondbacks had their way with the Phillies pitching staff. That's for sure.
Yeah, and and like you said, like the first half of the year, the pitching pretty much carried them. But now, that's actually what I'm really concerned about. Like, Sanchez, he pitched really. I mean, he had a great first half, but now the league's seeing him a little bit more. All of a sudden, he's not quite as effective. And Ranger, I mean, Ranger threw a lot of innings, more innings than he's ever thrown in the first half. And I have big concerns about because this team, I don't know what you guys think, but in my opinion, I think this team, Ranger could be the key to this team in the postseason. If you don't have a healthy Ranger, I don't think this team's going anywhere.
I agree with that. The innings concern is definitely real. I think really the same thing could be said for Sanchez too. I mean, he's approaching his maximum innings too. So I wouldn't be surprised if if in another start or two, if he continues to struggle, we don't see him miss a start or two with a little IL stint somewhere down the road, just to keep these guys healthy. Because pitching is what wins championships in baseball. I mean, obviously you need guys to hit. But if a pitching staff shutting down the other offense, then it doesn't matter as much. So that's really where I'm kind of out with this whole thing. But I totally agree with you, Joe. I think Rangers' return and how effective he is when he comes back is going to be a huge hinging point for this Phillies rotation.
Yeah, and Sean, you brought up Aaron Nola, and that's I'm glad they I want to get your guys' opinions on him because I'm glad they kept him because let's be honest, over the course of 162, Aaron Nola is a very effective pitcher because he gives you a lot of innings. He'll give you more quality starts than he won't. But don't you guys kind of and again, I know he's pitched a few good postseason games, but I don't know. I just feel like a lot of times in big spots, like when you need him, like Saturday night, I thought was a pretty big spot, and it feels like Nola comes up really small in a lot of those big spots. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, he's like serving up meatballs. Is he that true number one, like we said last week on the show? No, he's like a 2 or 3, but we need to see that Aaron Nola that eats innings, is locked in on the strike zone and all this other stuff. But like you guys said, it's just been rough to watch this pitching staff, whether it's injuries or whatever the case may be. But another guy I'm looking forward to see come back, hopefully, is Spencer Turnbull. See how they use him. What are your thoughts?
I think he's going to be a bullpen guy. I actually saw a report today that they shut him down again for a couple of days. He reported some soreness. So it sounds like now he just faced another setback. So if he does come back, it probably won't be till the end of this month, beginning September. Wow. I don't see how they can build him up to be a starter again. Honestly, right now would be a time where they could use that extra starting depth. I just don't see the time to do it.
But did you see they picked up a guy, with all those transaction moves, guys came up, guys got designated. They picked up a guy by the name of Nick Tyler from the Florida Marlins, and they said he's possibly a guy that they could see in the starting rotation. I don't know if you guys seen that.
did see that. I don't know how much I want to put my trust in that.
Yeah,
in him,
totally
him having to do it. But I think with everything when it comes to baseball teams, especially when you're looking to get like, you could never have enough starting pitching depth. So
Right.
if this front office sees a guy, and I trust this front office at this point in the player development system, if they see a guy that they want to take a shot on, and he's sitting there in the minor leagues for major league pitching depth, by all means, take a flyer on him.
Couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because that is one positive. I mean, and again, like, I know they've been struggling. I mean, I don't want to, I'm not going to obviously totally kill the Phillies. They're still tied for the best record in baseball. So it's not like, it's not like they're a trash team. You know what I mean? But one of the positives of the Phillies, though, has been their pitching coach does a great job. Caleb
Cotham,
there you go. Yeah. I mean, just the way he seemed to get a lot out of these guys, like, the Christopher Sanchez was not a top prospect. And I know he struggled a couple times out, but he's over exceeded his expectations, and then you got,
he's found his niche. Yeah, you're right.
You got a guy like Hoffman I know he's struggling recently, but he made the All-Star team, Strom. I mean, So for the Phillies, it does make sense to take chances on guys that have decent arms, and then let the pitching coach work with them, and see if maybe you can get something out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Cotham and then his assistant pitching coach Brian Kaplan, I think, are like two of the unsung heroes of this baseball team. What they've done with this pitching staff, the bullpen in particular, has been incredible. I mean, I know right now the pitching staff's going through a bit of a rough patch, but every team's going to. And if you look, though, a lot of these guys are just kind of regressing a little bit back toward the mean, right? I mean, like, Suarez is a good pitcher. Don't get me wrong, but when he was sitting there pitching with a 1.8 ERA for the first 2 or 3 months of the season, like that's unrealistic, right? He's going to probably be somewhere in the mid threes. Sanchez, same thing. So I'm not necessarily out on it. I think these guys are just going to kind of fall back to what their general averages are here. But the bullpen guys that you guys point out, Strom and Hoffman was kind of toiling over there. He was kind of a journeyman in a couple different teams. Hadn't really put together a solid season. And in 2 seasons with the Phillies, I mean, he's been a top reliever for this team the last 2 years. So
absolutely,
I think. Obviously, credit goes to him for putting in the work and everything, but I think a lot of that credit also has to go to the pitching coaches in what they've seen and what they've been able to tweak with him.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one guy. Hopefully they could get going is Alvarado, because I mean that's another key. I mean, how big the last 2 Octobers was Alvarado, and now he's hit a rough patch. Like it's you look. I mean. But, you guys know as well as I do, I mean, baseball, it's not always, I mean, a lot of times it's not the best team that wins. It's just the team that's hot at the right time. Like, I really don't think the Texas Rangers were the best team in baseball last year. They just happened to get, they happened to get hot at the right time,
Yes.
Yep.
So true.
And the funny thing is, ironically, too, like, they got hot in October, but if you guys remember, September, they actually coughed up the division. Houston wound up taking the division from them right at the end. And then all of a sudden Texas gets hot. They what did they beat? They beat who the hell was it? Tampa Bay. Then they beat Baltimore, and then boom, they were on a roll.
Yeah, and that's a huge part of it. I mean, they had a really good pitching staff last year. Their offense was clicking more. But I think to the point you just made there, Joe, like, they did struggle coming down the stretch, and you could see what they were able to do. So it's not going to take much. Again, I don't want to completely trash this team, because, like you said, they're not a bad team. They're going through a funk right now. It's just the problem is, it seems like, and it's been the same thing. It was the same thing last year when these guys are going through a funk. It's not like, okay, Turner's off right now, but everyone else is still hitting. It's like, no, you have 6 guys slumping right now and can't get a hit. Or it's like, okay, now all of a sudden, all of the pitchers are starting to get tired or get hurt. It's just like, it seems like when everything starts to go bad, it kind of all happens at once. So all it really takes to me is a couple little things to click here. And I really think this upcoming homestand is a good chance for them to kind of correct things, because they're going to be playing 2 teams that aren't great. And it's going to be big to pick up some games here because, the Braves are still pretty far back. But we have, I think, we have 6 or 7 games coming up against them in the next few weeks here. So we want to build on that for the NL East. But to the point you said earlier, you don't want to go in as the third seed into the playoffs here. You want that 1 or 2. So this is their chance to pick up ground, get things right, get some confidence back, and kind of get the ball rolling again.
Yeah, exactly. You got to keep one of those 1 or 2 seeds. Although I guess it's kind of funny because the last 2 years the only team that wasn't a wild card that advanced was the Houston Astros. So I mean, there's that. But I don't care. I want a 1 or 2 seed. I don't want to play around with that. Plus, I mean, for the psyche too. I mean, you look at how banged up the Braves are, with not having. I mean, even Albies is what. So they have what? Acuna's out for the year. Albies is out right now. Strider's out for the year. And if the Phillies don't win the NL East this year, like you got to look at yourself. And these guys would have to look and be like, oh my God, like how did we not win the division that's like equivalent of the Braves losing or us losing like Zach Wheeler, Bryce Harper, and Turner or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
I got a comment here. Here's our man Mike Fuji. What's happening, fellas? What's up, Mike? How you doing?
How you doing, Mike?
So yeah, I wonder what Fuji's panic level is. I know Fuji. He gets emotional with a lot of these games.
He does.
I think it's hard not to right now. I mean, like I said, it is so frustrating. Like yesterday was one of the first games. I'm like, I'm getting like angry watching this. I had to take a step away. I'm just like, it's getting to the point where it is frustrating. But I think, a lot of it, after having some time to think about it and calm down a little bit, I think there's reason for optimism at some point, but I know it's not easy to see right in front of us right now.
That's how it was Saturday night. I couldn't agree more with you.
It's hard. It's been brutal.
It is. It's like a roller coaster ride, and you don't want that roller coaster to keep going up and down. You want a nice steady ride, but it hasn't happened for us. But like you said, hopefully with these 2 subpar teams, Marlins, Nationals, and then off to the Braves and Royals, we can get it going. Kind of clear our heads.
Yeah, I got you. Well, one last thing here. So, is there anything they could do? I mean, the problem is like they're big guys. A lot of other than Schwarber, a lot of the big guys aren't hitting. I mean, if this team's going to win, you need the big guys to hit. But like I look at Brandon Marsh, like Brandon Marsh in particular. I mean, what's he? I think he struck out like an ungodly amount. It's like 40 times.
He was 0 for 4. Like I think 0 for something. Yeah, ridiculous.
He was 0 for 18. I think going into yesterday. 0 for 19 going into yesterday.
Yeah, and so maybe he needs to maybe sit the bench a few games. And as far as stock goes, maybe. Maybe play Sosa even a little more. Maybe even against righties. Like, I know they're trying. I know Sosa will sometimes play against the lefty, but the way Stott's hitting, I know you want to get him going, but maybe even play Sosa against a righty here or there. I mean, because I'll tell you what, man, with Stott, I mean, I really thought. I don't know what you guys think, but I really thought he was going to take a step up this year. I'm like out of all the guys on the team,
I'm right there with you.
Pointing at him.
You had to, yeah, absolutely, right there with you.
Like last year, he looked like. Go ahead, sorry.
Sean. No, go ahead, bud. It's all good.
I was just gonna say, I think like last year he looked like one of like the most pure hitters on the team, right? Like he had great knowledge of the strike zone. He could foul off anything. He work a deep count. And now this year it's like he's just like pounding everything to the ground. Like he's just not really getting much going there, which has been obviously frustrating. I thought in the beginning of the year it might just be like, okay, this is temporary. He's in a little funk, but I mean now we're in August now and we haven't really seen much improvement there. So.
Yeah, because I thought Stott was like, a future guy that could contend for a batting title someday. Just because of his knowledge of the strike zone. I mean, and you could see him coming on like you guys remember like in the playoffs 2 years ago, I know his average wasn't great during the regular season, but he's always had that knowledge of the strike zone. And so when you watch the kid, you were like, okay, you know what? Hey, he might not be hitting that great now, but you could see when he finds it, he's really going to come on. And it looked like he was there, and then all of a sudden this year, I don't know. It feels like he's back to like, it feels like he's taken like a major step back.
Well, he's doing the daddy life. Maybe the baby's keeping him up. Who knows? I mean, that could be it, or just like a mental block. Who knows? But like you said, he was on last year, but hopefully maybe get some rest on the bench because Sosa's defense and his bat is pretty solid. So give him some solid quality starts at the position, Yeah,
it's really tough because I don't know like what the right answer is here, because the thing is it's not just like one or two guys struggling, right? So it's like, obviously now Hayes getting hurt didn't help the Marsh situation at all.
True.
So now basically they're in a situation where it's like, okay, we basically have to play Marsh a lot. So he's not really going to get a chance to clear his head. But to me, it comes down to really like five guys, right? You got Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Realmuto, and Castellanos. Those are the guys making the big bucks. Of those, Schwarber's been having a really solid year, probably his best in a Phillies uniform so far. Cassie, I know he started out, abysmally, but he's actually like sneakily been having a really good couple months here.
True.
At least in terms of just getting on base and OPS and everything. Harper seems to be coming around a little bit. Turner was hot, but he is like cold as ice right now. And Realmuto, since coming back from the injured list, has just been like brutal to watch. I mean, I just feel like he had that home run the other night in Arizona, but other than that, I mean, prior to that, he had not had an extra base hit since May 28th. Now, I know some of that time was spent on the IL, but that just shows you like the dude is struggling right now. And you can't really rest him because who's the backup there, like Stubbs, right? So it's like you have to just hope to God that JT comes out of this. Like those guys need to step it up. And Bohm's been filling in fantastic so far. So I think you have like all the pieces here. Like there's not much more they need to do. It's just getting the production from those big bats, having Bohm keep doing what he's doing. And so much of it is just situational hitting. Like I've never seen, and it doesn't matter who's on this roster. Like since I've been watching the Phillies, right? It doesn't matter. It could be, it could have been the 1998 team. It could have been the 2008 team. It could have been the 2024 team. At one point in the season or all season, it doesn't really matter when, there's all this, they always suck at situational hitting. It's just been going on since 1883, I think. So it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know what it is, but they got to figure something out and just, start getting runs across when you can. It's just been, it's tough, but so there's not really a right answer. You just need those big hits when you get guys on base.
It's fun. It's funny you said that, because even with those great teams of like Jimmy Rollins and Ryan Howard and Chase and all, you're right. They had the same exact problem. The only team I can recall, I started watching baseball around '86, so it's so then they stunk most of the time. The only team I remember that was consistently good at situational hitting was the '93 team. The '93 team was like the only one. Like they used to, like I just remember watching them, and like if they got a guy on first, they used to consistently hit the ball the right side. They go first to third, sacrifice flies, But this
occasional home run,
even when they're good, they don't do it. Like for instance, the one game I know, a couple weeks back they got swept by the Yankees, and the one game they lost in extra innings. It drove me absolutely insane because the Yankees didn't score, and as all we had to do was get the guy home from second. We had a guy on, and then Bohm was up, and I know he's one of our top RBI guys, but like I was just like, hit the ball to the right side, hit the ball to the right side. Boom, he grounds out to the shortstop. I'm like, what the hell, man? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I mean, it's just they're and then it came in the Yankees did it. The Yankees catcher hit the ball the right side. They got the run home. They win the game. The Phillies don't. Yep. And you guys know in baseball, man, it's the little things. When you get in October, most of these games are decided by like one run. It's
every run matters.
Yeah. It actually, I mean, it could be one pitch. Most of the time. And when you're consistently not doing this stuff, you're taking the L,
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we move on to the Eagles, let's look at so this week, what do they got? They got what, 3 with Florida?
Yes.
And what is it? 3 with Washington or 4 with? Hang on, let me look.
3 or 4?
I think it might be one of those weird series that stretched to Monday.
Yeah, I think. Or is it? Yeah.
Here, hang on.
No,
I'll pull it up right here. It's okay. No, it's 3. Yeah,
it's a 2-game series against Miami, and then 4 against Washington.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
I knew it was something weird. I couldn't think of what it was.
All right, so 2 with Miami, 4 with Washington. So by the time we're doing this show next Monday, out of those 6, what's the Phillies' record? Are they turning this around? Is it a 5-1 piece? Or Eric, I'll ask you. What do you think? What do you think they do? Is this a good homestand?
I think it's a bounce back. I don't know if I'm going to go 4-2.
Okay.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's 5-1. I hope it's 6-0. But 4-2. I think is kind of like a step in the right direction. But again, there's just like right now. There's so many things that I'm just like not confident in, and I don't know. I'm going to go 4-2.
Okay. How about you, Sean? What do you think, bro?
I'm going to go out there and say 5-1.
Wow. Okay, you're putting the balls on the table here. I like it. All right.
Let's go.
I'm actually going with Eric here. I think I would love to say 5-1 or 6-0, but unfortunately, as bad as the Marlins are, and Christ, they sold like everybody. They're actually not playing that terrible. They're like 4-6 in their last 10, and the Nationals 5-5 in their last 10. And I don't know. Doesn't it seem like? I mean, well, I know we kicked the Nationals' ass the last few years, so maybe that, but it seems like that could be a spot where they step up and catch us one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they're sneakier than they're not good by any means, but I think they're better than what I thought they were going to be going this year. They're getting some production from some guys that I wasn't necessarily expecting. And so I could see them sneaking one. And plus, sweeping a 4-game series is it's really tough to do. I mean, you could still be the best team in baseball, and it's really hard to beat a team 4 times in a row. So I'd like for them to do it, obviously. But if they drop one there, they drop one there. I'm more concerned about Miami because it is a 2-game series. They're toward the bottom of the National League, but they do have a couple guys. Like, their pitching kind of stinks, but Jake Berger's been on a tear right now. He's hitting home runs like left and right, and this guy Xavier Edwards. He has been like.
I got him in fantasy. I picked him up.
I swiped him up too. Man. He is like he gets at least a hit, at least a run, and at least a stolen base every single game. It's like
yesterday.
Yeah, he's been on fire. So there's again, they're not good, but I think they're like one of the and the Marlins are always annoying for the Phillies, right? Like for some reason they always are a little pest, and they always find a way to to make games more difficult than they need to be. So I think it would be really nice to take both games against Miami, and like I said, and at least 2-3 against Washington, and then get ready to head to Atlanta.
Yeah, ironically, I feel like it was the Marlins that kind of started our little bit of a downturn. I think we played the Marlins literally right before they went to London, or right around the time of London, and that was the game. I think the Phillies were up 3-0, and they blew it with Wheeler, and then Harper got hurt that game or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. I just remember specifically the Marlins being that little. They're like a little gnat. You think they stink, and then next thing you know, they step up and they beat you. You know what I mean?
Well, they lost Josh Bell, and he just went to a different team to beat us now. So it's just like,
I know.
I was like, of course he's gonna keep hitting against us. I'm like, honestly, they should have signed him just to make sure no other team did, because I can't stand playing that guy.
Yeah, he's a solid player, man. He hits for a cycle. He's an all around good ball player. He was good.
He's a Hall of Famer against the Phillies, but
yeah, really, he's like an all time Philly killer, man. Him and Christ, who was the other guy that used to kill them? Oh, well, back in the day, Gary Carter killed them all the time, but I'm going way back,
Yeah.
But all right, well, you know what? Hey, I mean, that's the Phillies thing, but let's keep it real, man. I mean, I love my baseball, but we're entering. I know mine and Sean's favorite time of year. NFL's coming up, man. So the Eagles had their first preseason game Friday. I don't know that first preseason game. I can't take too much out of it. I mean,
No.
I think the guy Quinyon Mitchell looked good when he was in there. I think the running back Shipley looked pretty good. What was any of your takeaways from the Eagles, Eric? Like, what did you happen to see any of the game at all? Or
yeah, I did watch some of it. It actually worked out because the Phillies had a late game that night. Now, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm more baseball heavy, but obviously love my birds and everything. But
right.
until week 1 starts, I'm definitely more Phillies centric. But anyway, I did get to see some of it. And like you said, the first preseason game is always so tough to tell. You don't really know who's going to be playing, who's not. But I think there were a couple of things, like you said, like Shipley was good. I did like Trotter; he looked good.
Yeah.
Yes. I think what do you have? He had like five tackles, I think.
Yes.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy who I thought took a nice step. Nolan Smith looked really fast off the edge. He had that one sack, which was kind of cool to see. But other than that, I mean, there was a lot of penalties. I guess that's something you got to work out and that's why you play these games, right? I don't know what's your guys' take on starters playing. I know it's been a big topic of conversation, but what's your take on that?
I want them to play, to get in that football mode, kind of like baseball with hitting, but just play like maybe 1 or 2 good series. Get the feel, get to hitting the pads, running the ball, some contact. Last year we didn't do that, Like I'm old school. Just do it. Get a good hit. Know what it feels like. Not okay, you're gonna sit the whole game and just critique the game and hold the clipboard. Nah. You gotta get in there and get dirty, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, it's funny because like I would. It's one of those things where I'd like the starters to get like 1 series, maybe just to get a feel. But then by the same token, it's really hard for me to argue what Sirianni's done because if you look, the Eagles have the best record in the National Football League in September and October the last 2 years. I mean, they only have in the last 2 years they only have 1 loss and one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because the first loss in 2022 was in November. So so it's hard. It's hard for me to argue with results. You know what I'm saying?
True. You got to get the practice longer, like Fangio's doing. Getting these guys acclimated. He's an old school coach. And just get in there and just kind of get that team chemistry. Whether it's offense and defense. Get to know them and all. And I think Kellen Moore's not showing you what's all in the bag, he didn't run a lot of motion, just like Eric said in preseason. You don't want to let all your tricks out of the bag or even your plays, We're going to see a lot of motion, tight end heavy, and we have sure as hell showed last Friday night a lot of good running, which was good. Did we see Saquon? No, but we've seen the guys that are backing them up are pretty solid, and that's what I want to see. And I think with Saquon, you signing him to that deal, and plus he's got a lot of bad taste in his mouth. I'm going to say right here, I think he whips the Giants' ass. Those 2 games he gets. I'm sorry, I said the Giants, the Giants.
Yeah, well, Mike Fuji with the point here. I mean, this is kind of where the NFL's going with this. He says it seems that the joint practices, both teams go harder than they do in the preseason games. And if you really look, I mean, throughout the league, I feel like that's become a thing now. You see many of these teams, many of these teams practice together. Like for instance, I think the Eagles are going up to New England. I think I believe tomorrow. So what's tomorrow? Tuesday. So
Yeah.
tomorrow will probably be a really big joint practice tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Then you figure what the game's Thursday. So maybe Wednesday is maybe like a walkthrough or something because you're playing Thursday. So
right.
You'll see a lot of you'll see like the Elliott Shore Parks reports tomorrow. You know what I mean about what Jalen Hurts' interception streak or any of this other crap. You know what I'm saying? But so that'll be interesting. But it's I mean you look at the roster battles of this team. I mean it's. To me, it looks like I know Steen was penciled as the starter before camp, but to me, it looks like Becton might be ahead in that job.
Yeah, because if you really think about it, like we said last week, Joe, Becton's having a good camp because he's healthy. Steen had a little setback with his ankle or whatever it was, and that kind of does put you back in kind of training camp, unless you can quick recover and show out and do all the stuff that you're supposed to do to be that starter, But my thing is the defensive line did pretty good. Like you said, Nolan Smith, he looks quick. I love his technique because the lower man wins and the quickest man wins, and he sure as hell has. I know at Georgia and now at the pro level, but just his technique is something else. And if you can keep that going, he's going to be a special player, Yeah,
it was encouraging to see that for him the other night.
Yeah, really. I mean, he's got that criticism with that bad shoulder. Hopefully that's behind him, which I'm hoping, And we got a lot of cornerback, like secondary competition, who's going to be the cornerback across from Slay. It's coming to crunch time. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to this season, really.
Yeah. Did you see that Howie's one thing that's a little concerning though? I mean, tell you what, if Devontae Smith or AJ Brown go down at all, this team has no wide receivers at all. I mean, I say
last week to get? You got to get them, even if it's another guy. Like you got to get Hunter Renfrow. Perfect slot guy,
He'd be a slot guy.
He's young, he's 29, and I think he would fit perfect in what's the name's offense, Kellen Moore's. A lot of people were saying Juju. Juju's good, but he has that what's the name? That character issue kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? I mean, hey, if he could catch the ball, I don't give a shit what he does. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mike Fuji here. He says no more 2-a-day practices. Players getting injured all the time when the season starts. That's true. I'll tell you what. When I think of injuries, man, the first guy I think of is my man Jason Fine, aka Attorney Big Al. He, if you slip and fall on the job, or workers' compensation or personal injury claim, make sure you call my man. He'll get you paid. Now, obviously, pro football players don't need to call him, but hey, he'll get the regular man paid. You know what I'm saying? He's got 3 offices throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey, 1 in Philadelphia, PA, 1 in Cherry Hill, and 1 in Pittsburgh. So, again, make sure you call Big Al if you have any injury problems. But to me, that's the most important thing about the preseason. We could all speculate, who looks good, whatever. But, you get that one big injury, man, you got major problems. But do you guys think, because Mike Fuji had a point here and said that the reason he thinks a lot of guys get hurt early in the season is because they don't practice and they don't play enough. What's your guys' take on that? Like, you get 100%. Like soft tissue injuries.
I agree with him. I'll let you guys give your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it too, right? I mean, like you have to go through the repetitions.
Yeah.
And if you don't, right, you're setting yourself up for that. Now, I do get trying to protect players, right? And it's been a lot of that, as we said earlier. And it's kind of worked in recent years here with Sirianni, and not playing the starters that much in preseason games, or maybe the 2-a-days or whatever. But I mean, health is paramount, but it's a matter of, I guess, trying to balance. Like how much do you push? How much do you give rest? And I don't know if there's necessarily a right answer for that. Just kind of like each player is different, but you got to figure that the more reps you get with something, the healthier you're going to end up being.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
If you look at now with sports recovery, it's amazing. Like look at Terrell Owens. You got the hyperbaric chamber. You got the sauna, the cryotherapy. I mean, you got everything, like you said, at your hands, to benefit, to kind of give you that edge to be in tip-top shape. And also, you don't go on the field saying, oh, I think I'm going to get hurt. No, that's not how it goes. You just have to have, like you said, that right mindset and just go at it. But, that's how I see it.
Yeah. And then, what do you, I was saying about the wide receivers though. Like, what do you guys do? I mean, you mentioned Hunter Renfrow. Is there, how about, is there, do you think that could be a position where Howie actually makes a trade, where we see Howie make a deal?
Possibly, but who for you guys, who fits this offense of Kelvin Moore's? Like, that could be a surprise cut or even like a trade guy, like realistically. Because you got your Robert Woods out there, you got Juju Schuster, Renfrow.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else is out there right now.
There was something I think I sent it to you, Joey, like, because it was with that Ayuk supposedly getting traded or not going to get traded, but they broke down a whole list of guys. You got Corey Davis. That's another guy off the top of my head. But, who's the guy in Cincinnati? T. Higgins with the contract?
T. Higgins, yeah.
I wouldn't mind. I mean, Joe will say the same thing. You're going to have to give to get, And right. we have the ammo, first round picks and stuff like that. If it takes to get that kind of player who's unhappy, it's like a win-win situation. You know what I mean? And
Higgins can play.
Yes, he can. Yeah. And I think playing here, change the scenery and what this team is and what it brings. He'll do big things, man. I think it'll actually perk up this offense even better. Devontae, AJ, him.
Oh, adding any other weapon is just like it just takes pressure off those guys and takes defenders off them and everything like that. So one more guy to have to worry about. Anyone that they add, I mean, whether it's him or even one of those other guys you mentioned, you just need like someone who has, I think, some sort of like experience in there, right? Because like you guys were saying, if one of those guys goes down or misses any time, the receiving core is in some trouble.
Oh, absolutely. It's like Joey said, the anchor of the ship, it's slowly going down. And I'm hoping we see it from what I'm reading and seeing, what we all are seeing. I want to see 2022 Jalen Hurts. I think he has a little bit of bad taste in his mouth, and then constantly always hearing the chirping of him and Sirianni. He just wants to put that behind him and show the naysayers, yo, I'm the real deal. And he is a real athlete, But I just hope he brings 2022 Jalen. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think so much of the season hinges on that, yeah.
Well, they say he looks great in training camp. I mean, for what it's worth, I was trying to find. I saw it earlier that there was a rumor where Howie was talking to the Texans about a receiver.
Was it Robert Woods by chance?
No. His last name began with an A. It was like began with an A, but I couldn't find it. But I mean, well, I guess he'll probably give it another week or two because, he'll see if Britton Covey could win the slot job, because that's the one thing. They say Covey looks pretty decent in the slot, but the question is, can he be the full-time guy? And what's hurt the Eagles is like, I really don't think John Ross showed much on Friday, and Paris Campbell's hurt. And then, and the kid Johnny Wilson, he's young and he's got some potential, but he needs
to bulk up, baby. Yeah.
What's he, a 6-round draft pick? You can't There we go. Yeah. Fuji's got the name right here. John Mechie from Houston.
Alabama wide receiver.
Yeah. Supposedly Howie was talking.
Well, Howie's always been enamored with him. I think he wanted to draft him.
Yeah.
But we didn't, obviously. Because you got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and crybaby Stephon Diggs up there. He ain't getting the ball in preseason. Suck it up, dude. Like,
yeah, but he could
get it. I just don't get it, dude.
Ball here.
Yeah, exactly. But, he's one of those guys. But, yeah, first and foremost, I'd love to see T. Higgins. But that's just – is it a dream? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, hey, we got a few weeks left, so but anyway, yeah, it's there's always stuff to talk about here in Philly sports. But Eric, I just want to thank you for hopping on with us. Man. We had a great time.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. I like the Phillies talk, man. I'm all about that. Joey will tell you Phillies, Eagles, 1-2 punch.
I love it all. But yeah, the Phillies are like, especially for once that season's over, I'll be able to fixate more on other ones. But it's just we'll see.
Yeah, well, listen. Well, where could the people check you out?
So for Phillies work, I write for a fan-sided site. That ball's out of here. My Twitter handle's there, so I always post things, any articles on there. And then for hockey, I last year was writing for Philly Sports Network for some Flyers coverage, so I'll probably look back into getting into that as the season starts ramping up here. So those are kind of my two things right now. But right now definitely focused mostly on my Phillies stuff. So
nice. Well, hey, here's hoping we're celebrating a nice long October run. And then, and then hockey season, maybe we'll get on and talk about some Michkov. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let's see how that pans out. That it's at least something exciting. The last couple of years for the Flyers, it's kind of been like, what are they looking to do here? So he's here earlier than expected. It gives Flyers fans something to look forward to at least.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hey, I'm more excited about the Flyers this year than I've been in a long time. And I don't expect them to necessarily, obviously they're still in the rebuilding process,
right?
But just to watch Michkov play, and then of course you have Forrester, you got Tippett. Mm-hmm. I mean they got some nice young pieces on this team.
Lots of guys. It should be interesting to see how they develop. Yeah. Expectations should definitely be tempered, I think. But I think in the next 2 years or so, we're maybe looking at playoff hockey again in Philadelphia. So we'll see.
That'd be nice, man.
It's so much fun. Baseball is my favorite, but playoff hockey is tough to compete with. Playoff hockey.
It's different. I'm the same way. It's better than the regular season.
Oh, absolutely.
It is funny you said that because I love listen, I think I love all four majors, almost equal. I mean, because one day I can make the argument. I mean, I've always said football's probably 1, baseball's like 1A, but I love the Sixers too. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, but I will say that I feel like out of all four sports, the playoffs are better in baseball and hockey than any other sport. You know what I mean? Like NHL playoffs. Tremendous, and then of course October. I mean, October, it's like you're at the edge of your seat with everything.
Damn right, man.
It's euphoric. Like I honestly, I'm after those last two postseason runs. I was actually tired. Like my mood changed once Phillies baseball was over. I'm like, now what do I do? I just spent so much time and emotion and energy into watching those. So hopefully it ends with a success story this year.
They better watch that damn video of the Diamondbacks playing small ball because that just pissed me off because I think me and Joey went out for one game. And it's just seeing them hit the ball over the infielders, a pop-up, advancing, a home run. And we're just trying to play smash ball. No, you can't do that. And I hope Rob Thompson plays that and it leaves a bad taste in their mouth to move forward and be in the World Series, which it should have been, not the Diamondbacks. So let's go Fightins.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Hey, Eric. Hey, thanks a lot again, man. We'll talk soon.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Take it easy.
You're welcome.
Go Phils, go Birds.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Say it. Yeah, it was a good time, man. But yeah, man, it's that's interesting. He writes for the Flyers because I'm actually. I mean, I don't want to talk about them yet, obviously, because it's kind of too soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we wrap up out of here, I got a couple questions here. Mike Fuji had a because I want to kind of get in the league a little bit. What's your take on this Hassan Reddick thing, dude? Like,
there's more to it, dude. Like, you sent me something. I mean, why don't you want to play for the Jets? I think it has something. Maybe Salah rubbed him the wrong way or said something to him, because I remember something.
No, it's the money.
Okay, dude. I mean, then trade his ass. That's all I could say.
Paul Spencer says NFL. I got a comment here. Mickey Delaney says, "Hi, guys. Hey, what's up, Mickey? How you doing? Thanks for checking us out."
Yep, thanks. I mean, if anything, I like when I seen all the stuff and how you bring it up now with Hassan Reddick. Okay, he gets traded. Who does he get traded to? And does he get traded?
They're not. So I saw they came out. They said they're not going to trade him. And if you really think about it, if you're the Jets, you can't trade him. I mean, you're going to look like the biggest assholes in the league. I mean, the Jets
look like a coward. Yeah, you know what I mean. You coddled up. Yeah, I mean,
the Jets traded a 3rd round pick to get him. Now he hasn't even shown up. If they go and try to trade him, what are they going to get? A 5 or a 6? And there's no team in the league that's going to trade a high pick for him. You know what I'm saying? So can you imagine if you're the Jets, you trade a 3rd rounder for a dude that never even played, and then you get a 5th back? You look like a real jerk off. Like if you were the Jets, you're almost better off. You basically say, all right, dog, listen, man, you could either show up and play, or your bitch ass is going to be fined all year long, and you can go fuck yourself. Pardon my French, but that's how. I mean, obviously you're not going to say it in those words, but like, if I'm running an NFL team and I got a player telling me that, because the bottom line is he could sit out all year and the Jets still have his rights next year.
Yeah, that's what I see happening.
You know what I'm saying? Paul Spencer with a comment. He says NFL is becoming like college transfer portal players demanding trades. They're not going to trade him. No, they are not. Mike Fuji says, you would think being fined every day during camp, Reddick would get his ass in camp. You know what I think happens?
What?
He either shows up for the first game, or he misses the first game, pulls a Chris Jones. Remember Chris Jones from Kansas City missed the Lions game, and then he came in and played?
Yeah.
So maybe he pulls a Chris Jones, comes in there in like week 2. The Jets maybe give him some sort of extra incentives or some bullshit, and then he goes in there and plays, because ultimately he's got literally no leverage. Hassan Reddick has no leverage at all. He either plays.
Yeah, he thinks he does. He's in that little world of his. You're right.
But so I didn't watch a ton of preseason football, but anything, I'll tell you. You know what stuck out to me though? I mean, I only saw some highlights. Caleb Williams, man. I mean, some of those. You see some of the throws that kid was making. Yeah. Caleb Williams was making like Pat Mahomes type throws, man. That kid's got not only a hell of an arm, but he was putting that joint like right on the money, dude. Did you happen to see any of that shit?
Yeah, I've seen the highlights. Did you see the pretty little purses he has? He has a purse like my wife.
Yeah, but you know what though?
I know. Yeah,
I know. I hear you, brother. Believe me, but like I'll tell you what. Chicago Bears haven't had a quarterback since what? Sid Luckman in like 19.
Yeah, my buddy Jay is a diehard Bears fan, and he's enamored and excited.
They're going to be good. They may not be ready this year, but
they'll give people a fight. You're right.
I'll tell you, man.
Jay Miller,
they're going to be good, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, if this kid can play, they're going to be good. If I'm a Chicago Bears fan, man, I'm more excited than I've been in a long time.
Exactly.
I'll tell you another guy that stuck out to me a little bit. The kid in Washington, the second pick overall.
Jalen Daniels, man. Yeah, that series with the Jets. Holy shit, yeah.
That's another team. That Washington Commanders, man. That's another team that that I don't think they're necessarily ready like this particular year.
No.
But if that kid can play, watch out, dude, because you know how this league is, man. You get the young quarterback. Like look at the Houston Texans, bro. Like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the Texans suck balls. They go out and get C.J. Stroud. He's the real deal. All of a sudden, they have all this young talent. They get a young, exciting coach in D'Amico Ryans, who I love D'Amico Ryans as a coach.
I love his
so
he brings out the best in you. Just when you think you're down, he can motivate you, get you that one rap that you know what I mean. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Everyone, I remember somebody was talking about him when he got the job, like couple former like Eagles, like people that worked in the organization or whoever it was, and they all just said that like when D'Amico Ryans was here, like they all like everybody kind of thought like, man, this guy's like a future coach. Like the guy's just like a how do you say it? What's the word? Like they were saying like he's like the guy that's like a leader of men. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got that.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. He knows how to coach them, brings out the best in them. Yeah, no, I know you. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Paul Spencer with a comment here. He says Trey Lance sucks, overthrowing balls everywhere. Didn't throw to the right shoulder, wide open end zone, and side throws it out of bounds. Can't even put tape out to trade this kid. Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see the Cowboys game, but I mean that's one thing. I don't think Trey Lance has ever really looked good. Like he's the classic example of a guy that got drafted because teams need quarterbacks. Like you talk about like look at the Niners, dude. I mean the Niners really messed up getting Trey Lance. And then they wind up taking Purdy in like the 6th round, and Purdy's the guy. Ain't that funny?
Yep, pretty much.
Paul Spencer with another comment here. He says Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon, Texans are built. Yeah, Texans.
Yeah.
And they got a good defense. Like look at last year. They took Will Anderson. You know what I mean?
Well, they got Paul's boy Jake Ferguson over there. You know.
Didn't they just sign a They just signed a pass
Nico
rusher.
Collins to an extension.
Well, they signed a pass rusher from
Danielle Hunter, Minnesota / Green Bay.
Yeah, there you go. So, so they're going to be good. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. In the coming weeks, we'll have a lot more football talk.
That's damn right.
I guess what else did I want to touch? Did you watch any of the Olympics?
What?
Did you see any of the Olympics? Like, did you see any of the basketball game or anything?
The basketball game Friday, against Serbia, like the end where they won 95-93, and that's about it. Yeah, and how Steph Curry just took it upon himself to close out the game.
Yeah,
and you got the porcelain doll instead of playing center, which irks me like no tomorrow. Like I always said to you, his big ass is at the 3-point line. Like old school, man the paint, be a center. But whatever. Right,
but I didn't see a ton of it, but I just wanted to. I mean, hey, Embiid got it. Hopefully, as a Sixers fan, Embiid getting his gold medal and playing with some of those guys. Kind of, like playing with the Steph and playing with the LeBron, hopefully maybe at
Durant, yeah.
Because all those guys are great pros. And hey, Team USA was certainly tested. I mean, that they were what were they? They were down like 18 to Serbia at one point.
Yes, they were. And then as soon as I turned them on, threes, blocks, and rebounds. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Steph
Bogdanovic or whoever. and Jokic. They're the only two. Other than that, you didn't see anything.
Yeah. So shout out to Embiid for getting his gold. Let's hope that he gets
His due.
Right, and also let's hope that he
stay
finally
healthy.
gets a playoff run. Fuji says football the best time of year. Totally agree. And then one last Olympic comment here. Paul Spencer says women's game was crazy.
Yeah, that was
France player last second shot was an inch from being a 3 to tie the game and came up one short as time expired. I did see the very end of that. That was interesting.
66 to 67.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but anyway, let's get ready to wrap up here.
Yeah, man.
We'll be back next week. Go Phils.
Go
Birds. Go Phils. Go Birds. And thanks everybody for checking us out. Thanks to Eric for hopping on. And we'll see you all next week.
See you guys next Monday.
Hopefully it's a winning week.
Yeah, man.
All right. Have a good one.
Go Fightins.